Yes, famous and sitting, but as with many and despite our physical, that we are gathered this morning so that we can officially begin the fall academic. I am sorry that I can't see you all, that we can't catch up. That will come. I would like to start by acknowledging that the University of Guelph resides on the ancestral lands of the Attawandaron people, and more recently, the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize the significance of the Dish with One covenant to this land and offer our respect for Anishinaabe, Shawnee, and Métis neighbors as we strive to strengthen our relationships with them. Together, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging them reminds us of our important connection to the land where we learn and now, for many of you, you might ask, why are such land acknowledgements so important? For me, they're a reminder of our ancestors, of the history of our relationships to Indigenous peoples, and of our obligations to these communities on whose land we stand and work. Today, I want to begin by saying a really big thank you to our staff, our faculty, and to the entire University of Guelph community. These past 6 months have seen us face unprecedented challenges with determination, creativity, and grace. While so much of our world has changed with the advent of COVID-19, what remains and what keeps us going forward is our community spirit. I have been so impressed and humbled with the support you have provided to each other and to the incredible work and time you've invested to support our students under new and very difficult circumstances. And throughout today, I want to give a few examples of the many, many moments where the work you've done has changed people's lives. So today, for example, I want to give a shout out to our athletics staff who within days of the pandemic shutting us down, transformed their basements into gyms and offered free exercise classes to hundreds of our students and other community members. I am also deeply aware of your daily work, whether on campus or remote, has also had to be balanced with family responsibilities. On several calls, children have been in the background, needing help with homework, wanting some attention, or just wanting to get in on the action. Who would have believed that we'd be so interesting? Many of you are spending your days managing work, research, and teaching responsibilities while supporting children, partners, and extended family members. This emotional work often goes unrecognized, but it has become increasingly visible as our usual social supports have been stripped away by the pandemic. I want to say thank you for your dedication and sheer tenacity to get your jobs done. Today's breakfast is an important reminder that while we do not see each other on a daily basis, we are part of an incredible community. I encourage you to all to have a look and post messages on the Kudo board that's been created on the website for this event. It is amazing. It's full of beautiful reminders of all of our life that has been happening behind the closed doors of COVID. We've seen weddings, people have bought houses, cottages, grown gardens, new puppies have been added to families, and the list goes on. Please take this opportunity to share what you've been up to or a special moment from these past several months. For me, perhaps the two things that have stood out most over the last few months are the incredible work my adult children have done to support our household, getting groceries. One child built us a beautiful cedar shingle garbage enclosure as well as re-roofed our shed, while another child planted a beautiful garden from which we've eaten beautiful tomatoes, arugula, lettuce, chard, basil. We played games in the evening, something we haven't done since they were very little. And more recently, we've been able to return to our cottage in Quebec, which is in a remote part of Quebec and where there were actual physical barriers to anyone moving in until fairly recently. But I want to be clear, for many of us, alongside the good has been some very, very difficult and dark moments. We know that COVID has increased the incidence of depression, anxiety, alcohol abuse, and sadness. It is important that we recognize these things and that you remember University of Guelph is here to support you throughout this. As we shift towards a measured return to campus life, I am also so grateful for the work of our Return to Campuses Committee, the Research Continuity Group, and the Academic Advisory Committee for their careful attention to every aspect of our return. The thoughtful, evidence-based approach used by all of these groups is allowing us to transition successfully. I would especially like to acknowledge the essential workers in physical resources, research, student and campus supports, university services, and others who have kept our campuses running over the past 6 months. But it is important to remind ourselves that while we want to get back to normal, we need to change carefully and gradually. We are monitoring the impact of each step as we go. Sometimes it may seem a little frustrating to some of you that we don't have all the answers or a full-blown plan. We are learning from our successes and our failures. We're testing our processes and procedures, kicking the tires, if you will, on a new way of doing things. The message is we need to get used to uncertainty. Our core commitment is to the health and safety of our Griffin family members while we find new and innovative ways to deliver high-quality teaching and research. Now, I'd like to turn my attention to our students, some of whom I saw as I came onto campus this morning. We know our students are grappling with the impacts of COVID-19 on their studies, as well as their social life, their emotional well-being, and the economic opportunities that they face in the future. I feel for them. Our faculty and staff have been designing and offering courses and services to help them thrive and enable them to seize whatever opportunities there are. Our creativity and innovation will make a difference to our students' lives. Going forward, as we emerge from this crisis, which we will draw upon the University of Guelph's historic strengths. At the University of Guelph, we enjoy an incredible reputation as a top, comprehensive, and research-intensive institution that prioritizes the whole student experience, student success, and student well-being. We also benefit from strong and long-standing relationships with government donors, government partners, alumni, and the broader community. They also want our students and our institution to thrive. And on that note, I am pleased to share that we are gearing up for our annual United Way campaign with our co-chairs, Dr. Dan Gillis and Jill Ferguson, who I'm sure have joined us this morning. I want to thank you both for your work leading our United Way campaign that takes on added meaning during this crisis, as there are more and more people in need whom we can help. I'd like now to turn a little bit of attention to my presidential priorities. I know I've only been in the job for a matter of, this is my 5th week, but I would like to prioritize, I'm prioritizing a few things, but also lay out for you a few of the initiatives that you can expect in the weeks, months, and years ahead. I've been working with many members of our community, including the executive team, and I want to thank them for their support. One of the first, of course, goals being for me to rebuild and build a strong team. Our former president had built a strong team, and now it's my chance and opportunity to do the same. I'm fortunate that our Board of Governors is supportive of me moving forward with the search for 2 permanent vice presidents. Currently, searches are underway for both a new provost and vice president academic, as well as a new vice president finance and operations. I hope that the latter will join us early in the fall and the provost a little later. I want to give a shout out to our current leadership team who provide me with good counsel and the support I need to be successful. Thanks to Malcolm Campbell, our Vice President Research, and Daniel Atlin, Vice President External. Also, a thank you to Dr. Gwen Chapman, Interim Provost and Vice President Academic, and Martha Harley, Interim Vice President Finance, Administration and Risk. Together and in close consultation with academic units and support units, we continue to build momentum to achieve our goals and aspirations. My own goals as president will be guided by our overarching mission to improve life and will be influenced by the importance of building a sustainable foundation for the University of Guelph now and into the future. Building on our strategic framework, I plan to focus on 4 key areas. First, we must continue to strive for excellence and build our global reputation for excellence. That means excellence in research, innovation in teaching and learning, and ongoing recognition for students' excellence and success. To achieve such global excellence requires continued prioritization of our internationalization agenda. We need to continue to build international relationships, share our knowledge with the world, and ensure we have a pipeline of the best international students. And we need to emphasize experiential education. Whether our own students at home or students we recruit from abroad, they require real-life opportunities to enhance their learning and research. My second area of focus is to ensure the financial sustainability of the university today and into the future. We all know that COVID has put a lot of pressure on the university's finances, but you also know that I'm an eternal optimist and I believe in the University of Guelph. We will find a way forward and we will continue to invest to build a great, globally recognized university. From my perspective as president in my new role, fundraising will take an extra top priority as we seek to align donor support with our key priority areas: faculty support, capital projects, and student awards. We also know that governments are looking at higher education for support in their recovery, as well as in the research needed for that recovery. We at the University of Guelph have helped the government over the last few months and will continue to do so and be ready for their calls and opportunities. Thirdly, I will emphasize the importance of collaboration and interdisciplinary thinking to forge new breakthroughs, including breakthroughs in the sustainable operation of our campus. Here we will build on our demonstrated and long-standing strengths in collaboration, interdisciplinarity, and sustainability. Our Return to Campus group has proven what can happen when key leaders from across the university work together. And a special mention to one of our strategic financial initiatives, Team Unleash, as they've called themselves, for their amazing work in finding savings and new sources of revenue. Finally, I plan to focus on actively building a diverse and inclusive community. Equity and diversity go hand in hand with excellence. Throughout my career, I have prioritized building inclusive and diverse communities and institutions. I would particularly like to address the Black Lives Matter movement and the specific concerns that have come forward from faculty, staff, and the Black Students Association involving anti-Black racism at the University of Guelph. It has been upsetting for me to learn of the painful experiences of some of our community members. I am resolved that we as an institution can and will do better. This summer, through the Office of Diversity and Human Rights, under the leadership of EVP Indira Naidu-Harris, we've already begun to create positive change. This fall, incoming first-year students will have a mandatory anti-racism training module. We've launched an Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Fund, and already it's received more than 20 applications for funding. We're also beginning to fundraise for scholarships for our students from the Black, Indigenous, People of Color communities in partnership with Alumni Affairs and Development. In the coming weeks, I will launch an EDI action plan that includes an advisory committee to the President focused on anti-racism. As an institution, I know that we cannot achieve excellence without promoting equity, diversity, and inclusion. So in closing, as we move into the fall term and continue to work remotely, finding ways to connect will continue to be a priority. I hope that I have a chance to see you soon, maybe on occasion as you're on campus or as I am. But also, it's important that whether we're at home or whether we're virtual, that we continue to engage, to consult with one another. Certainly as president, I'm committed to ongoing consultations, engagement, and listening to our community. I will meet regularly with students, staff, faculty, members of the senior leadership team, and other units across campus, as well as our many, many stakeholders and friends beyond campus. By listening to our community, I expect to identify the gaps and opportunities that have been exposed by COVID-19 and map out our strategy, how we overcome our barriers and seize on those opportunities to build a great and wonderful future of excellence, community, with a commitment to our students. In closing, I want to thank you all for being here today and joining me. I wish you all a healthy, productive, and prosperous academic year.